Okay. Basically, I think this stream is to um showcase to you guys like how I find a setup based on liquidity standpoint. If you have followed me for a while, I think you would know that the method that I use to trade is to use the liquidity method. Two kind of liquidity that we use. One is internal range liquidity, which is IRL. Another one is the ERL, which is the external range liquidity. The IRL would also be known as the fair value gap, which is the imbalance that you guys usually use, like the gap that you guys want to fill. Um, so when it comes to finding a setup, when you come to sit in front of a PC at a certain time, two things that I would look at. First one is the price and structure. So whether it's bullish or bearish and what kind of trend that you are trading. Another one is the timing. So you don't have to sit here for like 24 hours just to find a setup. So mainly the most volume would happen between among a few skill zones that we so call. So for the Asia timing would be the 8:30 to 11 p.m. Eastern time. The time that I'm using here is the Eastern time in New York, so which is equivalent to the stock timing. The second will be the London session, which is 2:30 to 5 a.m. EST, which is my midnight. Third one will be the New York morning, which is 8:30 morning to 11 a.m. And New York PM will be the so-called the power hour, 1:30 to 4 p.m. in the afternoon. So that's the main key points that I use to trade. I just want to keep this simple when I want to find a trade. So before I go ahead to start off the new weekly analysis, I just want to showcase a little bit on a couple of trades that I've taken in the past few weeks, basically in the July, and that helped to secure a couple of risk to reward pretty decent RR, which is so called. So in Forex, we know that a lot of those movements doesn't happen in terms of percentage because the Forex movement is so tiny. Unlike in crypto, you can see like 10% move in a day, but in Forex, we don't see that. 1% move in terms of Forex is already a lot in a day. So what we use to trade here is in terms of risk to reward RR. The higher R you go, the more reward that you get, but also the higher risk it might happen. So it's a give and take. So I've jotted down some note here on myself. Just want to showcase a little bit on um the second here, which if I go back to the 7th of July, which is GBP Swiss franc. Mhm. So again, I want to so when we are looking at this chart here on a daily basis, what happened here is that give me a second, sorry. Let me redo the replay a little bit. One moment. Okay. So on the daily basis, this is what we see over here. Just to exclude the last candle here because this is the candle on the 7th of July. I was looking at this chart here, daily candle. You don't see anything other than this daily fair value gap here. Um, there might be a possibility that price still seek um from external to internal liquidity. So when I zoom down to the 4-hour chart, this is what I see. I see a large two gaps over here, and when I saw this over here, it's already somewhere, if I'm not wrong, it's somewhere like that, which is on the Monday midnight. So market open somewhere here. This is Sunday night for me. So this is a Monday morning for the Asia timing. So I was looking at this kind of liquidity that would be taken off before having a trade to the upside. If you want to target um based on a long session, this would be the liquidity to take off the profit, or this one would be more aggressive. So what happens that when I zoom down to 15 minutes, this is 4 hour. Let me take off this. This is bear in mind that this is a pound Swiss franc pair. So this is basically a euro pair. The most liquidity will come around 2 a.m., 2:30 a.m. to 5 a.m. in the Eastern time. And so let's see. So price taken out the liquidity, which is the previous Friday liquidity. We want to see a 15-minute shift in terms of structure, and in terms of the timing wise, this is the 2:30 until 5. So what I did here was that once price taken out at 2:30, if I'm not wrong, I did wait for a bit. I did wait for a bit. This is the 15 minutes fair value. There are two basically. If there are two, I would recommend you to actually go one time frame higher just to double check if you see something else. So 30 minutes you don't see anything, 1 hour you don't see anything as well. So stick back to 15 minutes and wait for a little bit more. So what happened here is that like that. If I take away this line here, you can see that anyone who entered at 3:30 would have been taken out if the stop loss they placed over here. Um, so after this being taken out, as long as you see this candle being bullish and you see the next point here having a higher low being created, higher high being created, you can actually place your limit here. Stop loss either one because either one would be invalidated. And your idea will still be the same. This will be the take profit level. If you have any questions, please feel free to drop in the chat. And let's see. So within one session, all TP has been hit in a way. So that means that if you look at the overall picture here, when price seems to be making a low high and a lower low, but in terms of liquidity standpoint, this the price did not displace further down, but instead they only taken out the liquidity at the sell side and break up to the upside, And that's when the price starts to become bullish again, and it aligns with the higher time frame buyers. So when you can catch this kind of low time frame entry and target the higher time frame TP level, your risk to reward will be high. For example, for this one itself is 6.5 R if you can catch that, even if using the market entry, not by the limit. So that's one of the example that I see. Um, I'll just give out a few, like two, three, or maybe four samples over here. So next one I have is the pound Canadian dollar. I still have my chart here basically. Um, so what happened here is that if I go to the daily chart on this one, so when you want to see a price reverse going to the direction that you want, basically if you think that this is bullish, if you think that this is bullish, you want to see price come down to a POI basically, or a fair value, and immediately showing a V-shaped reversal, and then rebalance again and then continue. But for this case, if you see price moving up in this kind of manner, so if you go down further on a time frame, you see a lot of zigzag, zigzag, zigzag. So this is actually forming a lot of liquidity in terms of trend line. Um, and what people use to trade here is that any break to the downside, they will short. So if you short here, you get stop out over here. But if you try to long, you get stop out eventually as well. So what we trade here is actually using liquidity again. Um, so on a daily basis wise, this is what we see trading into the fair value on the daily time frame. If I go down towards the 1 hour, I see a break of structure over here. 1 hour break of structure over here. Candle closure below. That means price was still making a higher high internally, but the next one is actually a lower low. So in my mind is that if this is forming another lower high here, that means price would actually come back here and not breaking the high and continue downwards. That's what I was looking at, but I haven't entered at this point of time. Um, so based on the hourly chart, let's see. Okay, even though this form a fair value over here, a 1 hour fair value, but look at the time here. It's 7 p.m. at night for EST. So that's just the opening of the Asia time. So if you want to trade a pound Canadian dollar at this timing, you wouldn't want to trade at this timing basically. It's either you trade during the London session or the New York morning time, which is the 8:30 to 11 a.m. Eastern time. So any point of time that this is forming, it might be the liquidity to be taken out. So wait till until then. So time is actually very important, not the secondary thing. It's as important as the price structure. So price taken out, no displacement to the upside. We are still holding this high here. And watch what we see over here going into the London session. So this is midnight already. This is 2 a.m. candle. Sweep out the liquidity at the buy side, still not breaking this high, immediately broke down. So if you see this 1 hour candle being like that, if you thought that this is actually bullish, like sorry, if you thought that this was bullish, if you long here, it's okay. You get stop out, it's okay. If you have your stop loss over here, you get taken out. But immediately you have to change your bias that this is actually not bullish anymore because this is just a wick up. So if you zoom out to 4 hours, you see this kind of candle here, like a long wick to the upside, and immediately broke down. Sorry, let me remove this first. And next candle here, still not sure because there's no fair value. Okay, here comes the fair value. So if you want to see the price change of structure, you want to see a body closure. If you zoom in to see, this did not have a displacement to the upside. Instead, it was closing with a wick, and it really comes to the end that it's coming to 6 a.m. over here. So watch a little bit more. Sorry, 1 hour. Stick to 1 hour first. One more here, and another change of structure. So eventually, if you want to just enter, you can enter based off the 1 hour fair value, which is what I did, and it broke down. Okay, so one thing, I was still having my stop loss as the original stop loss. That's very important as well because if you were to move the stop loss to your break even too early, um, that would actually get stopped out if the price manipulated in this way. I do not remember what happened with this week. I think it was just a normal day, which was having this kind of pump up to the fair value again. So this was taken out. This high was still being held. So 1 hour here, if you can zoom into 5 minutes, you see this 5 minute fair value. Again, no closure to the upside, no disrespect on the fair value, 5 minute fair value. And if it were to go up from here, it shouldn't be closing this kind of candle over here. So if you want to just add another position, you can add another position over here. And stop loss, again, you can put it here or you can put it here just to de-risk a little bit. Go back to 5 minutes again. This is a big 5 minutes candle. Strip high and broke down. Okay, so price actually move a lot during the session that you want to see, 2 a.m., which is the London session. Um, Going into the New York AM, which is the 6 to 7 a.m. That's the pre Q zone session. So this is really what happened. If you have the original position, that's the 3.8 R. If you open up another small position, this is 18 R. That will give you maybe about 10 to 15 R in total. Next one I have is something very recent. I'll just put out the last one here. 29 July. Yeah, so this is basically what I have. This is 29 July. This is, I think, last Monday, if I'm not wrong. So what I see over here is daily. I have a very tiny daily fair value gap. It could be, when I see this candle here, it could be something from ERL to IRL, which is a counter trend trade. If I go down again, there is a 4 hour fair value gap over here. Just to double confirm if there's no more imbalance above it. So we go down to 1 hour. Everything is rebalanced here. So there's no point price coming up again. So just focus on this 4 hour. So what we want to see over here is 4 hour change to 1 hour or 50 minutes as lower time frame for entry. And again, you want to see price fail to break up to the upside, keep filling. So instead of having a pop body displacement to the upside, you want to see a lot of wicks and the time as well. So this is prime one, 8:30 to 11. So a tiny little window here, 2.5 hours for you to find an entry. If it's out of the window, skip it. 50 minutes wise, we have a fair value, fail to break up, and we break down again. So let me remove this first. So once you place your entry at the 15 minutes entry, 15 minutes fair value gap, this one would be your low hanging fruit for first TP. And what price point actually failed to make this high, which is this one, TP2, and the last one would be the last sell side liquidity. So TP1, TP2, and TP3. So you eventually will see that the price tend to respond a little bit when it comes to take out all this liquidity. As you see, when it takes out this sell side liquidity here, it move out a little bit, but still a lot of sideway over here. Eventually it would sweep all this high and break to the downside. Sweep high, break to the downside. Same thing here, sweep, break to the downside. So you want to see this kind of price movement in order to go down further basically. So that's how I take a trade. And in a second here, I just saw the chat from so that's basically how I find a trade. So for so for the next coming week, we're going to see how we go about with the DXY first, of course. Weekly, we don't have a good closure to the upside. Neither we broke this high, neither we broke this high as well. No body closure. And on a daily wise, we are disrespecting this fair value on the daily chart. We still have one more here at the downside, but I'm not truly bullish on this, to be honest. I'm rather being a little bit neutral on this DXY movement. I think the target for the long has been hit in a way by last week, and in a way whether it will still continue upside, I don't know. I think it's coming down. So if DXY is coming down or sideways, we want to see whether those major pair has a very clear direction. If not, skip those major pairs, go with the cross pairs. Um, as you can see here, um, so for example, the Aussie dollar weekly no closer to the downside, but daily there is. We are still respecting this daily fair value. So, for example, if we want to look for this trade here, I want to wait for at least the 1 hour. I think if we were to go down again, price will actually take out this Friday high, and then having a switch in the structure, creating fair value, and then continue downside. So what would be your take profit level? This would be your low hanging fruit. Or if you want to target further, this liquidity can be your target as well. Same for this pound dollar. I see a lot of equal lows over here. So what do you mean by equal? This is sell side liquidity basically. So people tend to long and then putting stop loss over here, stop loss over here. But I don't see this as a strong stop loss in a way, not double bottom. Price will actually react from here and then seek the liquidity again. So same thing for this. If dollar is acting bullish in short term, we might see price taking out this high and shift. So again, pound dollar, usually the move will happen around the midnight for me, London session. So if you guys are in Asia, this is the afternoon for you guys. If you are in Europe, this is the morning for you guys, or even throughout the daytime. So I would definitely focus on that. So if you can see, this is also the equal highs. I have this flag, so this is on my watch list basically. Um, Aussie dollar CAD, we try to short this, we got stop out, and then price actually moved pretty harsh in a way. Stop was out over here, and then the NFP news brought it into this high, still respecting this fair value, and a lot of sell side liquidity over here as well. There's no more imbalance on top of it. Daily nothing, 4 hours have been filled, 4 hours here has been filled as well. So if for me, I would actually lean towards bearish on in terms of Aussie dollar CAD, but I want to see whether we're still going to the downside. This would be one of my watch list as well going into the market open tonight for me, or even the midnight if I get up because of the baby. Price would actually take this out, move down again, and then we can try to short. This would be the idea. Okay. I think that's about it I have for Forex, if I'm not wrong. There's nothing much. If you guys have any pair you want me to take a look, please feel free to drop in the chat here. I can go over some crypto as well. So for the crypto wise, weekly definitely still bullish. We made a higher high, creating a large gap over here in fair value. Whether we still want to come back into the low 100 range, it can happen. But provided that price making a lot of zigzag staircase retracement to the downside, um, sorry. So we want to see a lot of liquidity standpoint, a lot of trend line over here, people trying to short, and then a structure shift in this kind of pattern, creating a fair value, and you take a long back to this high as well. So that would actually give you the bias on the Bitcoin, whereby we still remain bullish and we want to see how we react in terms of this POI, whether we still remain as bullish or bearish. Um, Ethereum definitely stronger than the Bitcoin. If you want to double check on the ETC and BTC strength, you can use this chart ETC BTC. Over the past 2 months, I think 1.5 months, we have been outperforming the Bitcoin. So in case you want to long, go for Ethereum instead of Bitcoin. If you want to short between these two pairs, short the BTC, that will give you the narrative. Same for Solana. If you compare Solana with Bitcoin, this is actually worse than Bitcoin. So I think if you want to short, go for Solana in terms of these three pairs, if you want to compare. But if you want to focus on long, yes, go for Ethereum. So I did posted two charts. ADA, which I see a lot of sell side liquidity in the monthly POI. I think we might see that one day. I'm just not sure when. So at this point of time, we are reacting from this monthly fair value. But the key thing here is that price did, sorry, this is a weekly. My bad. It's not monthly. This is a weekly. So the key thing for me is that this low here did not create a new high. In terms of creating a new high, we must see a body closure to the upside. You might see that on a daily basis, but you will also see a daily basis time frame actually creating a bearish um fair value gap here, which price actually reacted very nicely. And on a weekly time frame, nothing is closing to the upside. And instead we have this candle, red candle over here. That gives me an idea whereby this might actually go lower. But right now we're acting here. We wouldn't want to short right here at this moment because shorting right here is actually giving us a very low risk to reward. So it's not worth our risk to do that. I might want to wait. I think if we can get an entry based on 4 hours, the risk to reward will be much higher, at least a 4 to 5 hour, I think. Another one here is that Lina. So I saw this last night. I was a little bit skeptical because it was my Saturday night. I just didn't believe that it would actually make a move on the Sunday. Sometimes in May, but not all the time. Unlike other pairs, this is actually one of the strong pairs in terms of the daily structure based on what we see here over the last 2 weeks. Price reacting very nicely on the daily fair value, creating a new one. So that's when I tried to pay attention to it last night. Um, Coming into Asia opening, price sweep the low again. We sweep the high temperature one as well once. It's just that this is 1 p.m. Again, this 1 p.m. for Asian time is actually 1 a.m. for them. So nothing would ever happen at this timing. Wait until their morning, the Asian timing morning, which is 7 or 8 p.m. our time in Eastern, as the price start to move again. So there was um, fair value created over here, breaking a lot of highs basically. So price moved pretty aggressively, creating a lot of fair value here. So I think I might still want to wait for price to come back down again because I do not want to see price actually take out this one and then immediately move downwards again and then stop us out, fill us and stop us out. I think that's no point. So that's basically what I used to take. If you guys have any question, I think my Zoom is going to be stopped out in a way that 40 minutes is max for now. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to let me know. I will have this recorded and then posted in the YouTube and then share the link.